Subhas Chandra Bose was born on January 23, 1897 at 12:10 p.m. in Cuttack, Orissa Division, Bengal Province, British India. He was the ninth in a family of 14 children. He was admitted to the Protestant European school in Cuttack, like his brothers and sisters, in January 1902. He continued his studies at the school, which was run by the Baptist Mission, up to 1909, and then he shifted to the Ravenshaw Collegiate School. Here he was ridiculed by his fellow students because he spoke very little Bengali. In those days, the British in Calcutta often made offensive remarks to the Indians in public places and insulted them openly. This behavior of the British, as well as the outbreak of World War I, began to influence his thinking. His nationalistic temperament came to light when he was expelled for assaulting Professor Oetten, who had manhandled some Indian students, and for anti-Indian comments. He was expelled, although he appealed that he only witnessed the assault and did not actually participate in it. He later passed his B.A. in 1918 in philosophy. Bose left India in 1919 for England, with the promise to his father that he would appear in the Indian Civil Services. He went to study in Fitzwilliam College, Cambridge. He came fourth in the Indian Civil Services examination and was selected, but he did not want to work under a foreign government. He resigned from his civil service job on April 23, 1921, and returned to India. He started the newspaper Swaraj and took charge of publicity for the Bengal Provincial Congress Committee. In the year 1923, Bose was elected the president of All India Youth Congress and also the secretary of Bengal State Congress. In a roundup of nationalists in 1925, Bose was arrested and sent to prison in Mandalay, Burma, where he contracted tuberculosis. In 1927, after being released from prison, Bose became General Secretary of the Congress Party and worked for independence. In late December 1928, Bose organized the annual meeting of the Indian National Congress in Calcutta, West Bengal, British India. A little later, Bose was again arrested and jailed for civil disobedience. This time he emerged to become mayor of Calcutta in 1930. Bose first expressed his preference for a synthesis of what modern Europe calls socialism and fascism in a 1930 speech in Calcutta. Bose believed communism would not gain ground in India due to its rejection of nationalism and religion, and suggested a synthesis between communism and fascism could take hold instead. Bose expressed admiration for the authoritarian methods, though not the racial ideology which he saw in fascist Italy and Nazi Germany during the 1930s. He thought they could be used in building an independent India. During the mid-1930s, Bose traveled in Europe, visiting Indian students and European politicians, including fascist Italy's leader Benito Mussolini. He observed party organizations and saw communism and fascism firsthand. In this period, he also researched and wrote the first part of his book, The Indian Struggle, which covered the country's independence movement in the years 1920 to 1934. During his travel into Germany, Bose met Miss Emily Schenkel in 1924. The two began a romantic relationship soon after. Emily was born in an Austrian Catholic family in Vienna. By 1938, Bose had become leader of national structure and agreed to accept nomination as Congress president. He stood for unqualified self-governance, including the use of force against the British. This meant a confrontation with the peaceful movement leader Mohandas Gandhi, who in fact opposed Bose's presidency. Due to the Gandhi-led clique in the Congress Working Committee, Bose found himself forced to resign from the Congress presidency. He came to believe that an independent India needed socialist authoritarianism on the lines of Turkey's Kemal Atatürk for at least 2 decades. For political reasons, Bose was refused permission by the British authorities to meet Kemal Atatürk at Ankara, Turkey. During his travels in England, Bose tried to schedule appointments with several politicians, but only the Labour Party and liberal politicians agreed to meet with him. Conservative Party officials refused to meet him or show him courtesy because he was a politician coming from a colony. On the outbreak of the Second World War, Bose advocated a campaign of mass civil disobedience to protest against Viceroy Lord Linlithgow's decision to declare war on India's behalf without consulting the Congress leadership. Bose organized mass protests in Calcutta. He was thrown in jail by the British but was released following a 7-day hunger strike. Bose's house in Calcutta was kept under surveillance by the police thereafter. Bose's arrest and subsequent release set the scene for his escape to Nazi Germany via Afghanistan and the Soviet Union. Late night on January 16, 1941, the night of his escape, he dressed as a Pathan to avoid being identified. Bose escaped from under British surveillance from his Elgin Road house in Calcutta about 1:25 a.m. on January 17, 1941, accompanied by his nephew in a German-made Wanderer W24 sedan car, which would take him to Goham Railway Station in Bihar, India. He journeyed to Peshawar, British India, with the help of the German military intelligence. After assuming the guise of a Pushten insurance agent to reach Afghanistan, Bose changed his guise to travel to Moscow on an Italian passport of an Italian nobleman. In Germany, he was attached to the Special Bureau of India under Adam von Trotz-zu-Stolz. He created the Indian Legion out of Indian prisoners of war who had previously fought for the British in North Africa, prior to their capture by Axis forces. The Indian Legion was attached to the Wehrmacht and later transferred to the Waffen-SS. In all, 3,000 Indian prisoners of war signed up for the Free Indian Legion. But instead of being delighted, Bose was worried. He was devastated when Hitler's tanks rolled across the Soviet border at the start of Operation Barbarossa. Matters were worsened by the fact that the now retreating German army would be in no position to offer him help in driving the British from India. When he met Adolf Hitler in May 1942, his suspicions were confirmed, and he came to believe that the Nazi leader was more interested in using his men to win propaganda victories than military ones. Bose lived in Berlin, Germany from 1941 until 1943. Bose and his long-distance lover, Emily Schenkel, married. Despite getting married, Schenkel never visited India. Bose became a father to a baby girl on November 29, 1942. During their 9 years of marriage, Schenkel and Bose spent less than 3 years together. In February 1943, Bose turned his back on his legionnaires and slipped secretly away aboard a submarine bound for Japan. He traveled with the German submarine U-180 around the Cape of Good Hope to the southeast of Madagascar, where he was transferred to the I-29 for the rest of the journey to Imperial, Japan. This was the only civilian transfer between two submarines of two different navies in World War II. Spoken as part of a motivational speech for the Indian National Army at a rally of Indians in Burma on July 4, 1944, Bose's most famous quote was, "Give me blood and I shall give you freedom." The troops of the Indian National Army were under the control of a provisional government, the Azad Hind government, which came to produce its own currency, postage stamps, and was recognized by 9 Axis states. The Indian National Army's first commitment was in the Japanese thrust towards eastern India frontiers of Munapar. The Japanese also took possession of Andaman and Nicobar Islands in 1942. The islands were renamed Shahid and Swaraj on July 6, 1944. In a speech broadcasted by the Azad Hind Radio from Singapore, Bose addressed Muhammad Gandhi as the father of the nation and asked for his blessings and good wishes for the war he was fighting. After the Japanese defeat at the Battle of Kohima and Impal, Bose's provisional government aimed at establishing a base in Midland India was lost forever. Japan's surrender at the end of the war also led to the surrender of the remaining elements of the Indian National Army. In Tayoko, around 2:30 p.m., as the bomber with Bose on board was leaving the standard path taken by aircraft during takeoff, the passengers inside heard a loud sound, similar to an engine backfiring. The mechanics on the tarmac saw something fall out of the plane. The plane swung wildly to the right and plummeted, crashing, breaking into two, and exploding into flames. Bose, although conscious and not fatally hurt, was soaked in gasoline. Bose attempted to leave by the rear door, but found it blocked by luggage. They then decided to run through the flames and exit from the front. The ground staff now approached the plane, saw 2 people staggering towards them, one of whom had become a human torch. The human torch turned out to be Bose, whose gasoline-soaked clothes had instantly ignited. They managed to smother the flames, but noticed that Bose's face and head appeared badly burned. Bose was conscious and mostly coherent when they reached the hospital, and for some time thereafter, in spite of the treatment, Bose went into a coma. A few hours later, between 9 and 10 p.m. on Saturday, August 18, 1945, Subhas Chandra Bose died at age 48. Bose's body was cremated 2 days later, on August 20, 1945. On September 14th, a memorial service was held for Bose in Tokyo, and a few days later the ashes were turned over to the priests of the Renkoji Temple of Nirichin Buddhism in Tokyo. There they have remained ever since. Gandhi said, "Subhas Bose has died well. He was undoubtedly a patriot, though misguided." If you liked the video, then feel free to click the like button. If you want to subscribe or comment, please do so. You can help financially support the channel by donating on my Patreon page. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The link's in the description. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you farewell.